defining a strategy and a plan which almost makes the outcome inevitable. So if you were to follow this plan exactly and do all of these things, then achieving that goal is inevitable. Hi, my name is Chorley. I'm CEO and co-founder of Automate Pro. The main problem we're solving really is the speed at which software development is being done. It really speeds up the whole software development process. And ultimately, that's what everybody's looking for: fast, low risk, efficient software delivery. So the origin of Automate Pro really is all about the experience that myself and my co-founder had in our 25 years of building IT systems. And Wayne and I had done pretty much every job in the software development phase. We were developers, we were testers, we were people who created documentation, doing releases and so on. And those jobs are very mundane and repetitive and could say soul-sapping really. And we wanted to build a system that removed that manual, repetitive and soul-sapping task. We wanted to make people's lives better and have them do more fulfilling tasks. So the main problem we're solving really is the speed at which software development is being done. It's largely being done the same way now that it was 20 years ago. So we're still manually doing testing, we're still manually creating documentation, screenshotting and copying and pasting into Word documents and things like that. And those sorts of activities really are ripe for automation, especially with AI now being able to seamlessly create these documents and tests automatically, run them like that, and get the outputs that you need. It really speeds up the whole software development process. And ultimately, that's what everybody's looking for: fast, low risk, efficient software delivery. Yeah, so a big turning point for Automate Pro was we were just about to launch the platform, and we discovered that a competitor had just launched a new product into the market. And even worse for us was that competitor was actually ServiceNow themselves, who built a solution on their own platform. We had to take a really long, hard look at what we were doing and whether we should actually continue. It's the worst news that you could receive as a founder. We had spent a lot of time and effort and money building a solution, and then we had this new competitor. But we were very sort of theoretical and logical about it. We looked at what they'd created. We looked at how ours was different, what moat we had, where we felt we could innovate and create differentiation against that. And ultimately we decided that we had enough to proceed. And we're here many years later, and that decision proved to be very, very good. So I get asked this question a lot: what is the secret to success? And I've done a lot of thinking about this recently, and unfortunately there isn't really one thing. But if I was to kind of bottle what's worked for us, it would be kind of three really phases in that. So the first one is setting a very clear aspiration, setting your goal and being very, very specific about that. The second one is then defining a strategy and a plan which almost makes the outcome inevitable. So if you were to follow this plan exactly and do all of these things, then achieving that goal is inevitable. And then the third part of that is executing against that plan, and executing with real consistency, discipline, and being very precise about following that plan. I think it's very easy as founders to get distracted by new shiny things and new ideas. So you set the goal, set the plan, and then execute against that plan, and do that over a long period of time. Yeah, so the things that I would approach differently is I would actually give away the product for free at the beginning. I think when you're a founder and you've built something, your desire to start making revenue from it is so great that you want to charge people money, and that puts people off because you haven't got any credibility, haven't got any referenceability, so they get nervous. We would have given it away for free. We should have given it away for free. And that means that you get some customers on your books, and also you get feedback on what you've built. And that feedback is way more valuable than any revenue that you get at that stage. You desperately need the feedback on the product to know where you need to change it, you need to modify it, need to enhance it, or add new features. So balancing innovation and scaling the commercial side was a huge challenge for us, I will say. And the way that we have overcome that was to actually do something a little bit different to other people, I think, which was to actually give those two key responsibilities to the same person. So in fact, what it meant was they had to do that balancing themselves in their head. So if they wanted to grow their revenue, then they knew they needed to do certain things to the product to innovate in a certain way in order to secure the revenue. That really, of course, is okay for a certain stage of the business, but as we grow, we know that's not going to be sustainable and that's going to need to change. But certainly in the early stages, we found that to be a really nice way of doing it. So not a lot of people know this, but before Automate Pro came about as we know it today, Wayne and I actually tried several other solutions in the market. One was with regards to managing retail in art galleries, in a chain of art galleries. Another one was in hospitality with guest houses and hotels. And when you put effort and work into those, and then you have to make a really difficult decision to stop that, it's a really challenging thing to do, but you have to do it as a business owner and a founder. You have to realize when something's not working and change and pivot. And we are so glad that we did that, because if we hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have put energy into what is now Automate Pro, and that being the success that it was. So for me personally, the thing that I've really learned about leadership is that you've got to pick the right people for your team. I know that sounds really obvious, but I now have a phrase which is build the people build the business. I think as a founder, we sort of assume that we're the only ones who can do the job to the right level that we really want it to be done to. And you have to get over that, and you have to get over yourself and realize that there are people that can do those jobs, whether it be sales or developing software or marketing. There are far better people at that than yourself as a founder. And so you have to go and find the right people that align with your values and your mission and get behind that, and then trust them to go and do that work for you. They're the professionals, not you. I used to think I was good at marketing until we hired a professional marketeer, and then I realized I was really bad at it actually, and very amateurish. But that handing over of responsibility and trust, I mean, the word trust in leadership, I think, is the king. It's right at the top of the pyramid for me in leadership. You have to be able to trust people to get on with their jobs. If you keep telling them what to do, then you're adding no value. You may as well just have a robot doing it. Hire the right people, trust them to deliver for you, and let them get on with it. Yeah, so for me, the culture starts with a mission, vision, and values. I know everybody talks about those, but it's really key to get those nailed very early on and understand what those are, because those are the things that remain consistent through the whole life of the organization. Whether you're pivoting to one thing or another, it doesn't matter. Those mission, vision, and values will stay the same. And for Wayne and I, the way we went about that was to really take some time out to look at what made us us. So what were our values? What did we do every day? One of the things we talk about is selflessness, and Wayne and I are very like that. We like helping other people. We like having fun. That's something that was very core in the business right from the beginning, was that we wanted to enjoy each day. So that's those core values are built into what we do, and because they're authentic, they came from inside us. We don't need to pretend to do those things. They are natural to us, and therefore that ripples throughout the whole organization. I think the thing that I would say to an aspiring entrepreneur is to really think bigger. You know, as a founder, we have sometimes quite conservative thoughts and views about where we should get to, and where, you know, there's a bit of a thinking that, you know, you shouldn't think big. Why not think big? You know, dream big, and that really changes your behavior and the decisions you make when you think about going really to the top level of where you want to get to. So yeah, thinking about really large aspirations and aiming towards that really can help you make really good decisions on the journey. In the early days of the business, yes, it's going to be very challenging. You're going to do very long hours, and you know that's going to be a huge challenge. But as a founder, you need to get the processes and the boundaries, and you get yourself organized so that you really can balance those two things together. It doesn't have to be the way that you think it might be in your head. As a founder, you are always a little bit scared of taking sort of institutional private equity funding. As you know, as a tech founder particularly, that's not a world that you operate within, and you hear scary stories of sort of, you know, them taking control of your business, and you know, you getting kind of overwhelmed with all their demands for, you know, governance and processes and so on. So, you know, it is a concerning sort of time for founders, but I think we really embrace the culture at YFM, and even from the very first meeting, I remember having that conversation and calling my business partner after that meeting, and I said, you know, these guys are different. It doesn't feel like they're going to be like that. I think, you know, we can work with these guys. They feel like they're supportive, like they understand our business and what we're trying to do, and excited about it like we are. They feel more like they're going to be a partner in the business, rather than somebody who's sort of oppressing us and going to want to take control of us. You know, when you get the private equity investment behind you, and the support of a board as well, and a chair that have experienced and been there and made those bigger bets, and kind of have that clarity and help you go on that journey to say, actually, you know, to go to the next stage of this business and this growth, you need to make some bigger investments, and giving you the support and the encouragement to do that, I think, is really important. And that for us has paid back, you know, in huge amounts by making those bigger bets. So I'm very excited that Automate Pro is on a massive growth journey at the moment. Things are really clicking into place in a lovely way. Our expansion in the US, we're expanding into APAC as well, in Singapore. So it's very exciting times for us. We are on the borderline of doing a Series B raise at this point. So that's going to unlock a huge amount of opportunity for us to expand. Again, more expansion into the US and into APAC and Europe as well. So I said recently that I want Automate Pro to be the first billion-dollar valued company in the ServiceNow ecosystem. And we're well on the way to doing that. So it's very exciting times for Automate Pro and for ServiceNow as well.